Hey y'all, it is week 5 of garden tours, so we are getting really excited. We've started harvesting a little bit. We got some zucchini and squash and well, a couple of non-ripe tomatoes have come off the vine, so we are really excited and gearing up for harvest season. And over here on this table we have my Dr. Witchies and the Purple Russian are doing really well. We have a few left in here we're going to transplant, and my bell peppers finally sprouted. It has been weeks and weeks, but I have 3, but this one looks a little puny, so no, 4. I have 3 good ones and then a puny one. None of these Eros Compleos have sprouted, but I'm not giving up. I'm going to leave them and keep watering them, and maybe they'll sprout. We'll see. A couple more tomatoes came up. We're going to transplant them. And then these poblanos have done really well. I have 4 good ones and 1 puny one, so we'll see how they do. And then our chamomile is doing really well. So once that gets bigger, we'll transplant it. And as you can see, our okra really came up, and we're going to transplant these probably today, later on today, maybe tomorrow, this weekend. And then we have our acorn squash, which are starting to sprout, and 1 feverfew, which I'm really happy about because my 1 feverfew that was in a pot is died. So hopefully that one will do well, and we can get it in a bigger pot soon. And all of our little baby sproutlings are looking really good. Alright, we are in the perennial garden and things are looking pretty good. The weeds were really wild, so we weed eated today. And you can see this is my one melon that's doing really well. It's the Moon and Stars, and it looks good. It's hard to see it amongst all of the weeds, but it's there. Rhubarb, I still don't know what to do with, but it's still there and it's getting huge. I'm not sure. I'm going to look into some recipes and possibly try some things out. We'll see. Comfrey is looking good. It's still here, getting big. I'm gonna harvest some leaves and make some salve at some point. It's really good for all kinds of stuff. So I'm gonna harvest some of that and make salve. This one that was looking really puny, it's a Moon and Stars too, and it is finally coming up and starting to get leaves and grow. So I think it's gonna be all right. I was a little worried. I never did start any more melons in cells, and I think that we will go ahead and do that this weekend. I keep saying that every week. I'm like, I'm going to start them in cells, and I never do. But I really need to. If I'm going to do it, I got to do it, or else it'll just be too late. We still have this one, which I think is a sugar baby bush. Looks like it might have got chopped a little with the weed eater.
It did. We'll have to scold Jack.
Yeah.
No.
I'm a little bit frustrated about the elderberries. I'm a little sad. They either didn't get pollinated and form berries. You can see they're all twiggy, or the birds are just already taking them. There's a cluster right here, and there's a few sprinkled throughout, but nowhere near, I mean, there's just all these stemmy pieces everywhere. Nowhere near what I thought I was going to have. We'll see how it does, but elderberries grow wild around here. I haven't seen any on the property, but they do grow wild, so I may be able to go find a good patch and pick them wild this fall. We'll see. Hopefully we get a good little bit off of that. This is looking good. Like, it's starting to grow a good little runner, and this one too. So, and there's this one here. So we have these 3 here still that are doing right. I don't break them. And then the zinnia patch is just really coming along. Constantly cutting them and putting them in the house. Aren't they pretty?
They're beautiful.
I love zinnias. They're just so pretty. They make me happy. They make me smile. And we've got our cantaloupe here. It's looking good. It's spreading. This is the Kusha pumpkin. It's getting big. It's wanting to climb up the wall. And this is the sugar pie. So I need to kind of directionally train them so they're not like growing all over each other. They can grow past each other. And the Big Max isn't getting very big. I've been looking at it and it's just not really vining much. It probably will take off at some point. But we wanted to grow a giant pumpkin. It needs to get big. Because we want a huge pumpkin. Just because. For no particular reason other than it'd be awesome to grow a giant pumpkin. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Melons left. I think they're Hill's Best. They're a little rough. This one's roots were kind of uprooted a little bit. We covered it and it's still alive. So there was one there, but it got got. Somebody was weeding, not mentioning any names. Derek. He accidentally weeded it. It's okay. It's all right. It happens. And the black raspberries have finished producing. They were doing really well. And then there's a ton of wild berries up on the top of the property. And we took the kids last week and we were like, we're gonna go pick berries. And we all went up there and were ready to pick a whole bunch of berries. We were gonna make cobbler. And then we got up there and they were pretty much gone. And we got 13 berries, so we didn't make a cobbler. But the blackberries are coming in strong and they're gonna be ready soon. We've had a handful of them here and there we've been eating. And then there's a ton of wild blackberries. So they're not great for fresh eating because they're really tart, but they make really good jam and cobbler and stuff because you can sweeten them. So they're really good for that. So we're gonna use them for preserving. And then there's a lot of red raspberries up there and they'll be ready in a while. They're not close yet. So overall the perennial garden looks pretty good. We're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna start some more melons that we can transplant in here. What this garden really needs at some point, really needs to be mulched heavily with like wood chips so that it can help with keeping these weeds down and things like that. But right now it's just, we're gonna just weed eat them. And this was a wild grapevine that had gotten out of control and our landlord told us to go ahead and cut it because it was just a wild grapevine, and we cut it and it's died. And then after the raspberries and things are done, and blackberries, we can try to finagle it and get it out of here, but we'll see. All right, so the corn is looking great. This is shorter and this is a little bit taller. This was one type of corn. This, whoop, there's a hole there, I'm about to fall. This is another type. They're all sweet yellow corn, but they're 3 different types. They look really good, but down here, look at these. They're huge.
It's even taller than you.
It is taller than me. Not a hard thing to do, but it is. And look, it's starting to get tassels. Exciting things are happening over here. Super excited about it. Look, some of the weeds are almost as tall as the corn. It's pretty good. But look at it. Look at this one back here. Huge.
Yes, it is.
There's one back there. This is really exciting.
And here is a ladybug in the corn. Right there.
I didn't see it.
It's there.
The glass gem corn is coming up. Looks really good. Getting tall. It's weird because it like goes like this, and for some reason it's much taller on that end in both beds than it is on this end. Don't really know why. It just, that's how it's growing, but it's all the same there. And then we put the popcorn in here and it is germinating more. At first there was like 2 or 3 and I was like, this doesn't look too good. Still not a huge germination rate so far, but more could come up. We'll see. I might come in and fill in with some more seeds. I have more seeds. But the popcorn's coming up, so that's exciting. All right, so this is where we put in those top crop bush beans, and we checked in here and the seeds were still in the ground, so we thought they were gonna come up and be okay. They didn't come up. I don't know. I think it's a combination of the pests inside, and I don't know if this is just too much, if it's just, I'm not sure. This compost has been sitting in that barn for years. It's just been in there. It was old bedding and manure, and then in the front of the barn where it rains, it just puddled up and got soupy, and that's what we dug that out with the tractor, and that's what we used. But obviously it didn't work well for the pole beans or for this, so this is just serving as a natural fertilizer for the potatoes at this point, which it looks like it's working well. As it rains, it just can wash it down into the ground underneath. But disappointed about those beans because I don't have any more to start anywhere else, but it is what it is, happens, and you know, it'll be all right. We'll try again next year for those. I'll get some more next year and try them. Over here we had these, which we believe are volunteer sunflowers. They sure look like sunflowers to me. So we left them There's a couple of weeds in them. No, I didn't pull them out by the roots. This ground is hard. But our red potatoes are here, and they look really good. And our Kennebec potatoes, all these potatoes just look really, really good. I'm really excited about them. We've had a few bugs on them. Not too bad. We picked some and sprayed some with soapy water, so we'll just kind of keep an eye on that and try to manually handle the pest issue, but it really hasn't been that bad, and they're really, really growing, coming along. The kids, this is falling down. We got to figure out. The kids' tomatoes are collapsing on each other here.
Yeah.
It's not good. Uh-oh. We'll have to fix
Well, we had
that.
talked about just letting them do their own thing.
But they're
Oh no, they fell on his pepper plant.
Yeah. Apparently coffee in the garden is just not working for me today. There you go. Yeah, this one, we'll leave it for now. This pepper plant was really coming along. I think it'll be alright.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Perk back up. But it's got some baby peppers. Look. They're purple. These things are screaming hot in my opinion, but Josiah loves them, so let the boy grow his screaming hot peppers. They're really pretty. They're the Chinese 5 colors, so they have 5 different colors. They turn and they start purple and then they grow and change colors. They get really pretty. They have another pepper here, but I don't know what it is, and it's hidden down under there. See, these are Hopi's blue goldberries. They're looking really good. This is Kylie's San Marzano she saved. Atomic grape. And then I'm not sure what the other ones are. They were all just random tomatoes. And my dill, look. It's looking really good. I'm so happy. I love this if it smells like pickles, which makes me happy. And then they're little green bean plants. Look, just like Jeremiah's 2 little green beans. They're growing baby green beans. These look better than my green beans by far. All right, so our green beans are super, super weedy. It just was really difficult to keep up with them this year, and we have beans in here and they're really setting fruit. There's a bunch of baby green beans down in here. So when I'm out here, I try to pull out some of these bigger weeds. As I come through, I weeded this little area yesterday, and we do have a lot of beans coming in on these bushes. Just don't know how much our yield is going to be because of the weed situation, and our germination wasn't great. But my dragon tongue beans look awesome. I am super excited about them, and look at this one. It's getting there. It's so pretty. Like, these just fill my heart with joy. I get so happy when I see them because they're just so pretty. Their flowers are beautiful. They're purple and pretty, and then their little beans are so pretty. But they are doing really well and setting fruit, so we'll be harvesting off of them, and they'll set all of their fruit. I think over a couple week period, they'll just kind of really heavily produce, and we'll be picking for a couple weeks. So, really excited about that. Might come back through and put in more beans when these are all done. We'll see. We haven't decided for sure what we're going to do because of the weed issue over here, but we'll see. You never know. We have time. Beans are a pretty quick crop. They're 50 to 60 days, so we have time for multiple plantings. So, all right, so the blueberry bushes, we were having an issue, of course, with birds, obviously. And we put the netting on, and it has helped. And this one still has a good bit of blueberries on it that are not ripe, and this one has been ripening. Get my fingers in there. The netting works for me too. And like ripe blueberries. So we've been picking a little handful every day. Not enough for any kind of preserving or, cooking with, but enough for everybody to get a little bite or two. And they're really good. The other day, Jacob said, "Emma, let's go look at the garden." And she said, "Okay." And he said, "Let's go to the squash garden first." I love the squash garden, which is this little area. And then she said, "Okay." So they come out here, and he goes, "Let's look at those blueberries first." She was like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." So he was excited and picked himself a handful of ripe blueberries. So he was a very happy little 3-year-old. Anyway, we transplanted these golden zucchini the other day. Are these ones the golden zucchini, or are these the? Yeah. And look, they've gotten huge. They were like this big when we put them in the ground like a week ago or less. Yep. And they're coming up. That one's ready to be picked. We'll have to come out here and harvest in a little bit. There's another one over there that's ready. So we're getting to the point where we're able to have a meal's worth of squash and or zucchini out of each picking. So fixing this little guy. Cucumbers are coming in strong now finally. I've been trying to train them up this trellis here. Where we came through, because I had just the few plants that come in, we have put in the these are not dar, I had dar, Wisconsin pickling, I think it was. Something we never tried before. This one that we saved is still going, it's there. But look, they have germinated really well. We might need to take one of these and move it to the end because it's a little close right here. But they're coming in, they're starting to get true leaves. Pull that weed. So they'll be coming up soon, and look, I'm not sure, I think this is the dar, or it might be Chicago pickling, I'm not sure. But anyway, it'll be ready. It's definitely a pickling cucumber, and it's almost ready. These get a little bit longer. These are starting to come up the fence, look, looking really good.
Also, you should mention this is our first day with our new camera.
Oh, yes, we got a new camera, hallelujah. We have had a really hard time. We've struggled with the cell phone. Just the audio quality is terrible. It does not do well with volume and stuff. And
it's hard when you go from an actual video camera to back to the cell phone.
Because you're trying to,
yeah, when you're used to using the camera.
The camera is just so more logistically, it's so much easier
yes.
Than a cell phone. So we were able to finally get one. We were really excited. So the black beauty zucchinis that we put in over here are looking really good.
They're rocking it out. 3
there. This plant has yet to set fruit.
It looks great.
Oh wait, there it is. Finally, here it is. 2 of them with zucchinis.
Oh, yep.
Finally,
this little bitty one's down in there.
This one we've picked, this is a black beauty zucchini, and we've picked 2 off of here so far, and there's one down here that will be ready, well not yet, but in a couple days. Should pull all these weeds out. There's a lot of weeds around this one we need to pull. But that'll be ready in a couple days, setting a couple more. Oh, there's one. It is ready. I could use my knife to do this, but that would be way too.
You've got it on your hip.
I know. That one's definitely ready.
Yes, it is.
So I don't have a basket out here. I need to get a basket. We will come back and pick the yellow ones over there in a little bit, and we'll have this. Maybe we'll have it for lunch. Here's one that's probably ready. This little plant cracks me up because it's so tiny, and we've already harvested off of it. This one's about ready.
Yep, it's ready.
Yep. So I need to get my basket. I am down to 1 basket. Probably about 5 years ago, I went to a yard sale and they had all these really cool, beautiful baskets, and we bought a bunch. And over the years, they've broke. And then in Florida, the outside weather is just so harsh. And a couple times the kids might leave a basket outside overnight or whatever, and they just didn't make it. So we have one.
The sun and the humidity.
The sun and the humidity down there just didn't make it. And I've got 1 left, and it's got a lot of broken places. So I really need to hit up some yard sales and try to find some cool baskets, because I love cool baskets and I need them for harvesting. For years we had several. When we went to visit family in Virginia Beach probably 7 years ago, and we went to an organic strawberry farm, and they had these plastic baskets with metal handles, and they were really great because the berries wouldn't fall through them. And we had them for years, and we used to forage for wild blackberries and wild black raspberries every year, and we used those all the time, but they eventually broke because they're plastic, and they were good baskets. So okra bed looks good. We're gonna have to come through here and weed it really good with the stirrup hoe. Is that what that thing's called?
Yep, stirrup hoe.
Stirrup hoe. And come in and transplant those little seedlings. They look really good, and hopefully we'll be covered up with an okra pretty soon. That's the plan anyway. But they're getting there. And then I'm totally stoked about these. We got these Seminole pumpkin seeds from Wanda at Deep South Homestead and Crazy Days. Those are her channels. And so far we have 4 out of the 6 germinate. So really, really excited about that. We're going to let them grow up and over this trellis. I read that they're...
It's also a rake holder. Right now.
Apparently it's a rake holder. Not sure where they
I mowed through there the other day on that stander and whacked my head on that rake. And I quickly remembered that I had put it there.
That's a bad... Well, it's not a problem for me.
No.
Anyway, these will grow over the trellis, and I read online that they can get 20 to 30 feet long. So we're going to probably go over and then back again or something. I'm not really sure, but we'll deal with the problem. It's not a problem. We'll deal with that when we get to it, when it gets that big. But we're really excited about these and see how they do. And they're a really cool old heirloom, and they're supposed to store at room temperature for a year. So that's a cool thing. All right, so I've been forgetting to update on the strawberries the last couple times because we moved them over here out of the direct sunlight because they were literally cooking. When we went to Tennessee for the Great Appalachian Homesteading Conference, we watered heavily before we left, but it was a scorching hot weekend. When we came back, they were all pretty sad looking, and we're not really sure how many. I think we had counted 13 that still had green on. That one looks really good right there. See it? And the one next to it still has green. There's a few through it. Well, there's a lot of weeds. The weeds are blending, but there's one up there. This one looks great. They're perking up, the ones that had green. But we're not giving up on them because the root systems are pretty hardy. Just because the green died and the stems died doesn't necessarily mean that they're dead. So we won't know until next year, next spring, when they start growing leaves again, what's really going to be viable and what's not. Our plan is to just leave them in the pots and see how they do by next year. They're not bearing anymore. They're June bearing, so they bear more heavily through May and into June, and then they quit. When we got them, there was a few strawberries on them, so we ate a few, but that was it. But next year, if they come back, they'll be great. And these that are still holding on, still, you know, if you have a dozen strawberry plants and you put them in the ground, they're going to grow runners, and you're going to end up with a lot of strawberries in the long run. So it's we're bummed out that all, you know, 280 whatever, I had 86, didn't necessarily survive, and we won't know till next year how many for sure survived, but we're still happy to have what we have.